All right, welcome in everybody to another episode of Sports Night. This is episode 4, if I'm not mistaken, and welcome in. I want to appreciate, first off, I want to say thank you and appreciate everybody that's here. Hope everybody enjoyed Dan's stream. That was a lot of fun. Steve's joining us again. Steve's like the live stream king now. He's on 7 nights a week. But I'm glad you're here, buddy. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Yeah, thank you. Love that shirt, by the way. That was very appropriate for the stream we were just in. But
yeah, it's Moonlight Magic. Yeah,
Moonlight Magic. Yeah, I don't know. As long as people keep coming, I'll keep streaming because I love it. Well, I can't do it mobilely, but I'll do it the other way. So, thanks for having us again.
Yeah. Well, let me say hi to a few people real fast before we start plugging some channels and everything. I want to say hi to everybody real fast in the chat. Chris Disney World Adventures, D Hazel's here, Angela's here from Pirate Princess Red, Steve's World's here too. You're in 2 places, Steve. Let's see who else we got. So for now, that's it for now. But I appreciate everybody that's here. Hey, Kay Atwood, welcome in. And we're gonna have a good time tonight. We're gonna basically talk sports like we always do. Saturday nights at 8, right after Dan's. But tonight is gonna be a little bit different. It's gonna be kind of fun. We're gonna give our top 5 favorite sports movies of all time. And there are tons of sports movies out there. You name it, it's out there. If you stream, we will come. Chris, that might make somebody's list.
I was going to say,
know.
I was just typing that might be a preview.
You never know, that might make the list. You never know. But Steve, real fast, for those who might be here, I think mostly everybody knows, but for anybody that maybe is watching the replay, tell them about your channel real fast, and I'll tell them mine, and we'll get started.
Okay, yeah, we're mainly Disney. Walt is my partner channel, Walt and Melissa. I greatly appreciate everything they do for the community. And then we have this little sports show here that is a lot of fun. I like collecting a lot of things, like doing a lot of things, watching movies, things like that. So we just recently started live streaming on Mondays, and we are on the Live Place. So I want to thank Dean at Dreamers Empire and the www.theliveplace.com for hosting. He hosts Walt and Melissa as well. So, if you guys would come check us out, we're in the middle of a 128 song Disney song bracket challenge on Mondays. We're on week number 3 of 4. So if you all could come join, we would appreciate it.
Yep. Christy's Corner is in here. Welcome in, Christy. I'm glad to see you. And for us, of course, if you're watching on the replay, and if you're new to the channel, we too are primarily Disney, but on Saturday nights we do Sports Night. And this is where we talk different topics of sports, try to change it up a little bit. Plenty of Disney content, and every once in a while it's nice to get something a little bit different. Doesn't mean we love Disney any less. It's just a kind of a change of pace. So we appreciate everybody that's in here. We appreciate the support, and we try to make them as fun as possible. And some nights we'll talk controversial topics about sports as well, which we were originally going to do tonight, but we had to change it last minute. But I'm glad you're all here, and we're going to have a good time with it. We stream here at Mouse Talk. We stream on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and of course Saturdays with Steve as well. Steve's there on Mondays. Be sure to check him out. We have great stuff. I was looking at the chat. I'm sorry, but I'm glad everybody's here. But let's get started with our top 5s. Now we're going to have some honorable mentions in here too. So everybody in the chat, if your favorites don't make our top 5, they might be on our honorable mention. Then again, they might not.
Yeah.
But we'll go top 5 and. Steve, I'm going to start with you. Now, do you have them ranked 5 to 1 or just 5 in general?
I didn't know which way you wanted to do it. I actually have 20 listed on my list because I did it, and then I was like, circle the best 5. My list could change from night to night. It's not necessarily the greatest movies ever made. It's just my favorite ones, the ones we like to sit down and watch. So, and as I sit here and look at my list, I'm thinking, no, I should have put that one up there. But anyways, we can start however you want to do. You want to do best to worst or worst to best?
Well, I have a top 5. These are my 5 favorites, and I have a 5 to 1. So yes, you're right. These aren't the best movies of all time, but these are my favorite sports movies, strictly sports. You're right. Are any of these movies probably going to win an Academy Award? Probably not. But that's not the purpose of them. For me, I can tell you a lot of these are ones that are near and dear. I like movies that bring emotion. I like comedies and stuff like that too, and fun movies, but I like movies that bring emotion. So some of those and I'll explain why they bring that for me, and why they're my favorites. But yeah, let's go 5 to 1 if you don't mind.
Okay, no problem. So give a little disclaimer. We did change. We wanted to have some special guests tonight for a controversial subject, so they couldn't make it tonight. So we wanted to change this up. So I didn't have time to study up on my movies. So if I forgot something about the movie, then it is what it is. So
that's okay.
My number 5 is going to be Rudy, and
good movie.
Rudy has that. It actually has a pretty good. I'm from Indiana, and it's Notre Dame,
right?
So it has a close to home feel for it, and it's Notre Dame football. And in recent years, Notre Dame hasn't really been the greatest, but they used to be a football powerhouse and a football. You knew what Notre Dame was.
Right.
Now, this movie has Sean Astin in it. It actually has, which I didn't realize until recently looking back up, has Jon Favreau in it.
Oh, is he in it?
Yeah, he plays D-Bob, I think is his name.
Okay.
But he's in it. It's got Ned Beatty. It's got a whole list of people. And the whole movie premises around Sean Astin's character, which is Daniel Rudiger. He's trying out for the football team, can't make it. He keeps trying. So he finally makes the team, I think in his senior year. And it's when he gets close to the end, a new coach comes in. And the original coach had said, I will make sure you play a game. He would get him into a game somehow. When the new coach comes in, and I don't know how close this is to the exact real story, because it is based on a real story, a true story.
Yes, I was just going to say that. Yep.
When he gets into this last game, and sorry guys, there will be spoilers here, so if you don't want to hear, plug your ears. But it's from 1993. If you haven't seen it by now, sorry. So
yeah, spoilers for sure.
When he gets to the end of the game, his final game, the new coach is sitting there. He doesn't put him in. I don't think, at least in the movie, he doesn't put him in the first half. And then the entire crowd is just begging to get him in. And the way the movie makes it seem, and I don't know if it's exactly true or not, he gets in on like the last drive of the game. The coach finally gives in to the fans that are chanting Rudy. And he's young. He's small. He's also a small guy too. So for a football player, he didn't quite meet the standards, but he worked harder than anybody else on his team. And then he finally gets in, and between the music of it, during the scene that he finally gets in, and the crowd erupting, it sends chills down my spine. And like you said, you wanted to feel emotion in the movie. So it was directed by David Anspo, and it was just a great, really, really great movie.
Absolutely, that's a great choice. And what I like about that is exactly what you said. It's based off a real story, true story. And it's a very inspiring story as well. Yeah. You're right. You're talking about a walk-on guy that never made the team, a little guy, kind of, your prototypical underdog story. And, he gets into a game with, at the time, was a powerhouse, great football team. You're right. It's a great story. It's got Sean Astin in it, who is a very good actor, who went on to great things. You're right. Great movie. And that one was back.
Samwise Gamgee.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. He's gone on to do some great stuff, and the movie is probably 30 years old now, isn't it?
1993.
Okay, so not quite, but almost.
Yeah, 25 years, 26 years.
25 years, yep, absolutely. That's crazy. Angela, thank you for the links for everybody. We really appreciate that. Thank you. That's a great pick. Now, for me, the first couple are going to be less emotional. We're going to make our way forward from there. Number five for me is one of the funniest movies for a sports movie ever. And it's so much fun. It's got tons of stars in it. And it's Major League.
Yes.
I love Major League. Now, we had Major League 2. We had Major League 3 back in training or whatever. But the first one was so good. What a great concept for a movie. You take the Cleveland Indians at the time, and that was really based off a true story too. They were terrible for years and years and years, and you got this ragtag group of guys that they just bring in on purpose to lose, at least they thought, and they go out, there's a burp, sponsored by D&G, as Rob would say. And they go on to win the American League East, I guess, at the time, back in those days. Such a great, fun movie. You've got Charlie Sheen, you've got Tom Berenger, you've got Wesley Snipes, you've got Dennis Haysbert as Serrano. It's just such a great movie. It's so funny. There's so many laughs in that movie when he says he needs to sacrifice the chicken and he brings in the Kentucky Fried Chicken bucket. It's just a funny movie. It really is. Willie Mays Hayes. What's he say? I run like Hayes, but I catch like Mays or something like that. It's such a great movie. Hey, Jelly's Journeys, welcome in. Good to see you. What's up, Dan? How you doing, buddy? Go ahead, Steve. What do you think of Major League? Did it make your list?
It did. It was actually at one point in time I had it as my favorite movie, and I actually moved it to honorable mentions because I went with some more, as I thought of, more touching and emotional movies. And I had a feeling you were going to put Major League on your list. And so, but yes, Major League is such a great movie. It's not only funny, but you do start feeling emotion during the movie too. And
yeah, you do.
They're all Serrano, and Bob Uecker's in it with he plays a guy, and it's just
Rene Russo's in it too.
Rene Russo's in it. Yep. Yeah. It's just one of the greatest comedy movies for sports that you will ever see. So yeah, it was definitely in there.
Yeah, I agree. It's just so funny. And at the time, the Cleveland Indians were perennial losers.
They were like the Cleveland Browns are now.
Yeah, kind of. I don't know about next year, but that's
not next year. Yeah.
But it's true. They were just such a bad team at that time, and to put them in a movie where they actually win was kind of neat. You know, it was fun that they used Cleveland to do it, and just a fun movie. It really is. Disclaimer: the second one, Major League 2, they filmed here in Baltimore.
Nice.
And I was in the movie.
Oh wow! Really?
I was in the stands for one of the scenes because they called out to people in the area, and they asked for any extras that wanted to be fans in the stands. And I went down there, and they filmed it in the middle of like January or February. We were freezing, but that was pretty neat. So there you go. That's my number 5. What about your? And by the way, everybody in the chat, please, if you have favorites of your sports movies, let us know what they are. We'd love to hear from you. We want to know in the chat as well. Which ones do you like? Which ones are your favorites? Because some of yours might be on our list, right, Steve?
Oh, yeah. And I don't want to interrupt what we're doing here, but I want to give an update because it is Sports Night. We missed one heck of a game, it appears. Virginia just beat Auburn by 1 after hitting 3 free throws with 0.6 seconds left.
Oh, wow. How about that?
Which means I won Dole Whip Dad's bracket challenge. So that's all I cared about. So, okay.
That's great.
I actually won both brackets I entered. So that's good.
Good for you. Do you win anything for that?
No, pride, bragging rights.
That's good, though. Those are
just good. So, all right. My number 4 is Remember the Titans.
Oh, good.
And that is from 2000. And this is also based on a true story. It was during I think it's set back when segregation was still a real thing. It wasn't supposed to be, but it was. Mm-hmm. And Denzel Washington's in it. He gets hired as he's an appointed, and I think it was done for political reasons as a high school coach and as their first season as a racially integrated team. So you got the whole team of white players, you got the whole team of African-American players, and then they have to join forces in a school. And there's a lot of tension. Mm-hmm. And the coaches, which again is Denzel Washington, and the other one is Will Patton, who was coaching he was a legendary coach at the time. Everybody wanted him to be the coach. They mixed them together, and they had to learn to coexist as a family. And by the end of the movie, they do coexist as a family. And one of the most absolutely touching moments of the entire thing, the main I can't remember the names, and I apologize for saying this, but the main white player and the main African-American player had grown to become best friends. And the main white player was leaving right before, I think, the championship game in the movie anyways, and got hit by a car, got put in the hospital.
Right.
And he gets in the hospital, and the other guy comes in to visit him. The nurse tells him, you have to leave, visiting hours are over. And then he looks up at him and says, whatever her name is, nurse, can't you tell we're family? And I mean, to come that far and to become a winning team and to do it in that time period was an incredible feat. And then actually, the most emotional thing for me was reading the real stories afterwards.
Yes.
He actually died, the one that was in the bed. I don't remember what time. It may have been a few years, but I think he was bedridden or handicapped or something for the rest of his life. And that was more touching to me too. But to see that, the racial tension and becoming unified and becoming a family, to actually call it a family, was it's a really good movie.
That's a great pick. I have to be honest with you. I've never seen that movie all the way through.
Oh, Walt.
I haven't. I
just ruined it for you?
I've seen no, it's okay. I've seen bits and pieces of it. Like, I did see the end of the movie when they do the scenes at the end telling you where they all are afterwards and things like that. So I saw some of it, but I've not seen the entire movie. Isn't that crazy? I know the premise of it, but I've never seen it.
There was a whole TV show based on it too. And I loved, I mean, that TV show was great too. And also the little girl, his daughter, that's always real intelligent with the plays and things.
Right.
That's actually Hayden Panettiere, who went on to do Heroes, and I can't remember the latest one she's in.
Oh yeah, Hayden. Yeah,
she's married. She's married to the boxer, the Russian boxer. I can't remember who it is. She's married to the Russian boxer that was a champion forever, though. So, but yeah, it's a great movie.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. I can say I know it's a great movie. A lot of my friends have seen it, and they love it, but I've never seen it all the way through. That's one I'll have to definitely catch for sure. Kay Atwood says, "Does Brian's song count?" I would definitely say that counts. Absolutely. Wouldn't you?
I went back and forth with it, and Brian's song is like the movie that all guys are allowed to cry at, that kind of thing. Yeah. And I went ahead and threw it on my honorable mentions.
There you go. See, but Brian's song, James Caan's in that, right?
I think so, but I couldn't remember the movie. I'd not seen it in so long, so I didn't want to talk about it. So
right, I get you. And Dan says his top three are Senna, Rush, and Cool Runnings. Now, two of the three I know. I don't know Senna. Do you know Senna?
I don't know Senna.
Yeah, I don't know that one, Dan. But I know the other two, and the other two are very good. Let's see here. What else did I want to talk about? Well, my number 4 for me is, again, a classic. It's a comedy. It has some of the best scenes, one-liners in all of sports movies, and it's Caddyshack.
Oh, yeah.
Caddyshack is an incredibly wonderful, funny movie. And to me, the guy that makes the movie is not Rodney Dangerfield, and it's not Chevy Chase, and it's not Bill Murray. Ted Knight, to me, makes that movie. He is so funny. He is such a jerk. He's such a snob, but he is so funny in that movie. All the other ones are great. Don't get me wrong. And talk about star-studded movies. This is it. This has got everybody in it. But Ted Knight is so funny in that movie. But Rodney Dangerfield's hilarious. Chevy Chase is funny. It's a golf movie for those that don't know. I think everybody knows what Caddyshack is, but such an amazing movie. So many one-liners in this movie. They said, and I don't know if you knew this, Steve, the scene where Chevy Chase and Bill Murray at night, where he's putting through his house, where he accidentally hits the ball in there and they're talking, they said that entire scene was ad-libbed.
Really?
They said that entire scene, him and Chevy Chase and Bill Murray ad-libbed that scene.
Wow.
I've read that, and I thought that was the most amazing thing because it's so funny. It's such a great scene. It really is. Or I don't know. It's such a funny movie. Christy's Corner says it's before her time. Christy, go watch it. It's really funny. I think it's funny. It's such a comedy. I mean, it has laugh out loud moments. Steve, what do you think, buddy?
Oh yeah, that's a comedy to its T. Rodney Dangerfield they're like you said, they're all great. But I love funny golf movies. I don't know why. I just do. But with that kind of star-studded lineup, you can't go wrong. It was a great movie.
Rodney Dangerfield is so funny in that movie. The one-liners he throws at Ted Knight, it's so funny. Well, like the line he says about the hat he's wearing. He says, "Oh my God, this is like the worst hat I've ever seen." And Ted Knight's wearing it. He goes, he goes, but it looks good on you. And then he looks away like,
yeah. Yes, that movie, and I haven't seen it in a while, but that movie is incredible. You'll laugh from start to finish.
You really will. It's so funny. It's just so funny. Again, maybe it's just me. I'm old, but I think it's funny. Oh, so that's my number 4, Bub. What's your number 3?
Okay, my number 3 and is based off, again, another true story. My number 3 is The Blind Side. And I think it's The Blind Side because of how great the acting and the story was. Now, I've read documentaries where things weren't quite, they were enhanced for the movie. Things were done for the movie. You know, everything's based on a true story, and it's always ad-lib for screen. But the story is still real. Michael Oher, he played for, I don't. You're not a Ravens fan, but he played for multiple Ravens for a long
absolutely.
time.
Yeah,
I can't remember. He just recently went somewhere else. But when Lawrence Taylor broke Joe Naismith's or Theismann, Joe Theismann, right?
He broke Theismann's leg.
Theismann's leg, yeah.
Yes.
He broke Joe Theismann's leg.
Ended his career.
Yes, ended his career. And that's what's called the blind side, which is a quarterback's side that he doesn't look out of. So if he's standing, if he's right-handed looking, his back's to him.
Right.
So Michael Oher was a kid that was grew up in a really rough neighborhood, surrounded by drugs and violence. And Sandra Bullock plays Leanne Tooley, who went through and found him. She plucks him out of there. They according, you never know the real stories, but with movies speaking, she goes and finds him. She brings him into her home, and they give him a place to stay, and they treat him like a member of their family. They give him a truck and everything else. And Tim McGraw's in this movie, and a lot of great people. So then when he goes to college, they bring in a tutor, which is Kathy Bates. She does a great job. When he goes to become to college, they want him, of course, to go to their college because he's a part of their family. And then they get accused, of course, of bringing him in only for that reason. And that's the story. But then he grows up to become, that is his mother. Sandra Bullock plays his mother, and he goes to become an NFL player that definitely was a great player for what his role was.
Yeah, he was very successful in the NFL. He was drafted. I don't know if he was drafted in the first round by the Ravens, but he was a high draft choice for them. If it wasn't first round, it was second or third round at the latest when they drafted him. And at the time, it was a position of need, so it was a position that they definitely needed, and they chose him. So it is a great story. And again, Steve's picking all the true stories.
Yeah,
I haven't picked one yet, but he's got all the true stories on there.
I just looked, and he's I've got one that's not a true story. So.
Oh, that's funny. None of mine are true stories, just so you know. So I'm glad you got them on the list. But that is a great, great movie. Again, one of those inspirational movies with a feel-good movie that you can take something from because it's real. It's true. It's authentic. It really happened. Obviously, the writers and the creators, they have creative licenses to make changes a little bit here and there. But again, that's a very good movie. Great movie. If I'm not mistaken, didn't Sandra Bullock get nominated for that movie?
I think the movie, let me look. I think that movie got nominated for quite a bit, actually. I think it was up for Best Picture, too. And the interesting thing was I saw it by mistake. I was, I don't know why. At the time, I was dating a girl that was into Twilight really heavily. And I believe that movie came out the same time Twilight came out, on the same day. And we went and tried to watch Twilight, and it was sold out. We couldn't get into it. So we said, what are we going to do now? And then we looked over, saw a poster, said, well, that's playing. You want to go see that? And I remember we didn't see much hype about this movie. We didn't know much about this movie. The movie's success around here anyways was spread through word of mouth. And it shot off like wildfire. It was an incredible movie. And it was the epitome of a feel-good story that's what was its selling point. So we actually got to see it by mistake.
Gotcha. No, and those are usually the best kind of movies, are the ones where you go in with no expectations, you know nothing about, and you come out loving them. I think those are the best ones, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
I think that's a great pick. So that's your number 3, right? That was number 3?
Yes, sir.
Gotcha. So my number 3 is, again, an older movie. It stars Gene Hackman. And I think this is probably the best basketball movie ever made, period. It's an older one, and it's called Hoosiers. I absolutely love Hoosiers. Don't like Hoosiers, Dan? I mean, Steve?
It's my number one, and it is a true story.
Oh, it is. That's right.
Yes.
What am I thinking? That's right. It is.
When you said you didn't have a true story, I was like, yes, he didn't pick mine.
Yeah, it is. I'm sorry. That's right. I don't know why I was thinking it wasn't. But Hoosiers is it's the best basketball movie ever made, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Such a great story of a coach who had kind of been, I wouldn't say shamed, but didn't have a very good history. He had a history of one time where he had assaulted a player. Mm-hmm. So they bring him into this town, this small town, where they like things done their way, but they are a town that loves their basketball. It is like their religion, but they do things a certain way. They coach a certain way. They play a certain way. Well, this coach comes in and he wants to do it his way, which is the complete opposite of what they're used to. So the town's against him at first, and he comes in and he's got a lot against him. He's only got like 5 or 6 players on the team when you're supposed to have 12. So he doesn't have very many kids there, but he starts to win them over. He starts to teach them the game the right way, a great way, and they become really, really good. And the town gets on board. And it's just such a great feel-good story of this little town that goes all the way to the state championship against a powerhouse team in the state championship. And it's just amazing. I mean, one of the best lines in that entire movie is at the end where they're there, and the best player on the team, he sets the final play because they're losing, or it's tied. It's tied, and the coach sets the final play, but he doesn't set the final play for the best player on the team. They're going to try to use him as a decoy, and all the players look at the coach like, no, he should be touching the ball. And the coach looks at the best player and he goes, I'll make it. It's just a great line. It's just a great line. It's a great movie. It really is. It's very emotional. It's an awesome movie. Steve, your thoughts?
Yeah, it's actually my number one. It's my number. It's my favorite sports movie of all time. So it's actually based off of a school that I played against.
Oh wow! How about that? Okay.
It's based off of Milan High School in Indiana. I'm from Indiana, which Indiana, for those of you who don't know, is labeled the basketball capital of the world. We really love our basketball here. Absolutely. And so but back when they won, there were not class sports. So they were actually, the movie was actually filmed. I can't remember where the movie was filmed, but it may have even been filmed at Milan. I can't remember. But anyways, they had this, they went up against this powerhouse because it was not class sports. They actually won the state championship that year. When you go to the town, they're from a town like I was, about 2,000 people, small, it was small. Well, my school actually won a state title too in very similar fashion, but it was the first year that they went to class basketball. So we didn't get the same kind of feel that they got, but yeah, it was just such a great movie. And then Gene Hackman, yeah, he's an embattled coach in there. And Dennis Hopper's in the movie. He plays his assistant, a drunk assistant. Gene Hackman gets kicked out of games on purpose so that it gives Dennis Hopper a purpose in life. It's just such a great movie. And Barbara Hershey's in it. And if you have not seen that movie, it is the epitome of basketball. It's the epitome of old-time basketball. He gets out there and he measures the free throw line and the height of the basket. And when they get to the main building that they're going to play the championship, and he goes, same as our school. It's just a great, great film.
Right. And the whole point of that scene is to let them go. They're used to playing in these small little gyms, and now they're playing in this gigantic stadium, auditorium or whatever you want to call it, this arena. And he just measures the height of the basket and the height of the foul line to let the players know it's the same. You're playing on the same that you always play. It's such a great scene because it's true, because kids get intimidated. And this just shows them that, nothing's different. It's just a bigger building. Yeah, great. I'm glad it made your list. I really am. It's such a great movie.
Oh, yeah.
And I hope people in the chat, if you haven't seen it, be sure to see it because it's wonderful. I think you guys would love it a lot. So next in line, Steve, you're number 2, buddy. Who's next?
Okay, my number 2 is If You Build It, They Will Come. And it is Field of Dreams.
Chris was talking about that earlier.
Yeah, I knew. That's why I said I knew there was a preview coming. So, Field of Dreams with Kevin Costner is such a great movie. It's got Mufasa in it, James Earl Jones. It's got such a great cast, and the whole premise is he hears this voice from, he's a farmer, says, if you build it, he will come. And it's kind of freaky at times when you hear this voice out of nowhere. He doesn't know he doesn't know what's going on or why it's going on. So he turns around and out of blind faith for what he hears, only out of blind faith for what he hears, he starts tearing up his cornfields to build a baseball diamond because he sees a vision of a baseball diamond. Right. And he thinks it's to constantly meet Shoeless Joe Jackson, played by Ray Liotta, I believe. And so he constantly does that, constantly follows everything they do. He goes and finds James Earl Jones, who was a player back in that day, brings him to the field, and the players aren't allowed to step over the line or they become old people again, like closer to their deathbed from where they had passed away.
Right.
And the whole premise of it, he thinks is to meet Shoeless Joe Jackson. And at the end, he comes to a realization that it was Joe Jackson that was telling him to build it to become so that he could play catch and talk to his father who had passed away.
Who they had a bad relationship with, too.
Yes.
His father didn't have a very good relationship.
Exactly. So it was such a great twist on the movie. And then, of course, people start coming from everywhere. They're going to lose their farm. And at the end, James Earl Jones walks across. He's invited to go into the field with them. And Kevin Costner wasn't sure why. Well, it's because he was to hang back so he could have an experience with his father. And it's just such a great movie. It's an iconic movie.
Yep. It's definitely and I hope nobody takes this the wrong way. It's definitely a guy movie. It's a father-son kind of movie. If you have a dad that you're close with, or if you have a son you're close with, it definitely kind of pulls on the heartstrings for sure. It's pretty awesome. I love that movie as well. I mean, the final scene when he's playing catch with his father, it's a tough scene to get through.
You can relate, yes.
Yeah, you definitely can. Because not that anybody cares, but when I was young, my father and we played ball all the time. Mm-hmm. It was just what we did. We played catch. We went out and played ball as often as we could, and I do that with my sons. It's a good thing to kind of give you that relationship with your son, or moms can do it with their daughters or sons too. But for the movie itself, it was such a great movie. It really was. And again, a lot of stars in that movie. Yep.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was completely star-studded.
Gotcha. That's your number 2. That's a great pick. I love Field of Dreams. With my whole list, I try to get different movies in here, different sports.
Yeah.
So I've had baseball, I've had basketball, and I've had golf. Mm-hmm. Well, the one sport we haven't talked about, where I think it's actually kind of a big one, is a basketball movie. I mean, not a basketball movie. I'm sorry. Is I'm just going to do something here real fast.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, moderators. Please keep an eye on the chat in there just in case. But is a boxing movie. We haven't had a boxing movie yet.
Yep.
And it's not Raging Bull. It's going to be it's Rocky, but it's Rocky 2.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I liked the first Rocky a lot. I really did. It's such a great concept. I love it. The out of nowhere guy. He's an underdog. He's from Philadelphia. Nobody knows who he is. He gets to fight the heavyweight champion of the world. That's really cool, and he almost wins. But that's why my favorite's number 2, because in the second one he does win, and he takes him out. And the second movie is I think it's a very emotional movie. I mean, you've got Burgess Meredith, you've got Talia Shire, you've got I can't think of Paulie's name. Burt Young. I think Burt Young, of course, Sylvester Stallone. Carl Weathers as Apollo Creed, which is a great bad guy. It's such a great movie. But the reason why I like Rocky 2 so much is because there's so many great emotional scenes in this movie. I mean, the entire time, he gets the heck beat out of him in the first movie. And this is literally a sequel hours after the first one ends. I mean, the movie starts with them in the ambulance from the first fight, right? Mm-hmm. So he's there, and she doesn't want him to fight anymore because he could go blind in his one eye, and he wants to fight because it's all he knows. But he respects and loves his wife, Rocky does. So he goes and tries to get a regular job. She has to start working. She's pregnant. She gets hurt, internal bleeding, and she goes into a coma. And Rocky, who was going to fight now, but decides not to for her, and she's in a coma. And finally, she comes out of the coma. And one of the best lines in the whole movie for me, Steve, is when she wakes up out of that coma and he's sitting there, and she comes over. He comes over to her and she says, "Come here, I want you to do something for me." And he looks at her and he goes, "What?" And she goes, "Win."
Yeah.
And then the music hits in the background, and Burgess Meredith goes, "What are we waiting for?" And then they start the training. It's such a great movie. It's such a great movie. What do you think of Rocky 2?
I hate the Rocky movies.
Do you really? Oh my God, I love that movie.
I love Creed. I hate Sylvester Stallone. I think he's a terrible actor.
He's not a great actor at all.
And I think to me, he ruins those movies completely.
You think so?
I cannot. I'll be honest with you. I've watched them all. I can't stand any of them. I knew it was gonna. I knew they were going to be on your list somewhere in the grand scheme of things. And it's shocking to a lot of people, but I cannot stand the Rocky movies. Now, I think Michael B. Jordan playing Creed is an incredible. I love that new movie stream, and I know Sylvester Stallone's still in it.
Well, he's a supporting character in that.
He is. He's not the main character, and I just can't. I think. See, and this is going to make some people mad too. I compare Sylvester Stallone to The Rock. I think The Rock is a terrible actor. So when you have other characters that can bring you up in a movie, I'll watch that movie. But I cannot stand Sylvester Stallone or the Rocky series. None of them. I've seen them all.
It's so funny. Really, I find them to be, well, here's how I see it. I take them for what they are. And More Sunshine, Please makes a good point. Rocky won the Academy Award.
Yep.
Which is amazing. But that being said, I don't think Sylvester Stallone is this great actor. Of course not. But I do think he was perfect for that role because he's not a very good actor. The role that he played was the role of someone who's not of high intelligence, who didn't have any talents other than the fact he could box. That was it. That's all he did. But that character, Steve, is a beloved character in film history.
Oh, I get it.
Everybody knows who Rocky Balboa is. I watched a stream, and I'm going to get off topic real fast. I watched a stream of Rocky visiting, I just called him Rocky. Sylvester Stallone visiting Philadelphia to visit the Rocky statue that's in Philadelphia. So he gets out and crowds all around him. Everybody's calling his name, but they're not saying Sylvester. Everybody's saying, "Hey, Rocky! Rocky! What's up, Rock?" And he's just waving, and he doesn't care. I like Sylvester Stallone. He's not a great actor, but I like him as a person. From what I know, I think he's awesome. He's certainly not going to win an Academy Award.
He's also what I found interesting about him in that. He's not going to. They had to put him on milk crates to fight everything because he's so short. He's little. Yeah, he's like 5 foot tall. They had to put him on milk crates to do all his scenes.
Oh, I believe it. Oh yeah, he's really small. Absolutely. Hey, now stay away from that.
As I learned, you're not the most vertically,
No, not at all. Not at all. But no, Rocky 2 for me. I love that movie. I just think it's fun to watch. And when he finally wins the title in the end, it's just really cool that you can relate to it as someone for the underdog to win and then win in the surprise fashion that he does. That's all. I just really enjoy the movie. So there you go. So that's my number 2. I know your number 1.
Yeah, my number 1 was Hoosier. So I'm going to pull one from my honorable mentions. And I'm going to do it in honor of Dougie and pull the Mighty Ducks up because they could have made my top 5 pretty easily. So the Mighty Ducks, the first one was specifically the first one. They're all good, but specifically the first one. So the Mighty Ducks with it's got Emilio Estevez in it. It plays Coach Gordon Bombay. And one of the reasons why I like the Mighty Ducks so much too is because when Disney owned a hockey team in Anaheim, they named them the Mighty Ducks.
Yes, they did.
I thought it was incredible how they transitioned the two. But another classic story of he's put on probation maybe by a court, and he goes into he goes in and gets stuck with these kids for community service.
Right. Yeah.
They're a bunch of ragtag guys. They can't really play. And it's just another one of those feel good stories where they're all smaller or out of shape. And then they go up against powerhouses and, you know, and it's a symbol of unity and teamwork. Mm-hmm. You have, you know, if you can't do that, you're not going to win. Sports should not be about one person on a team. Unfortunately, a lot of them, they are. You have your better players and your worst players, but the best players are ones that include the other teammates with them, because
right.
You know, you need to do that. And the whole scene at the end with the flying V and everything and the quack quack, and that movie is really, really good. I know Dougie loves it, up one side and down the other, all three of them.
So does Meg. So
Meg does too. Yeah, there's a lot of people that do it. I'm one of them. It's such a great movie. But yeah, I'll go with Mighty Ducks as an honorable mention there.
Oh, More Sunshine, Please says Slapshot. Paul Newman. That's a great movie.
Yeah, that is a good movie.
That's a classic. Slapshot's a really good movie. And that goes back. That's like 1975, I think. Or was it early 80s, Steve? I can't remember.
I'll look it up real quick. I'm not sure when it was.
But yeah, Slapshot's a great movie. Oh my gosh, that's another great hockey movie. Well, you could say Miracle too. Another one.
Miracle made my honorable mentions.
Yep.
1977 was Slapshot.
Slapshot. Okay. Yeah, I knew it was 70s for sure. So there you go. So Steve, good honorable mention for sure. Well, my number one for me is a baseball movie. It's by far my favorite baseball movie of all time. I absolutely love this movie. I love everything about it. Again, lots of stars in it. It's very sad for a lot of it, but it has probably the best ending of any baseball movie or any sports movie I've ever seen for me, and that's The Natural. Robert Redford does such a great job in this movie. Again, Barbara Hershey's in that. I think it's Barbara Hershey, isn't it? Isn't she the widow that shoots him in the beginning? I think it is.
I'm not sure.
I think it is, but you have Robert Redford, Glenn Close, Darren McGavin's in it as the bad guy, and just such a great movie. It's about a young aspiring baseball player who's a great, phenomenal player. Probably would have broke many records in the books as both a pitcher and a hitter in baseball, and he goes away to his first camp to break into the major leagues, and he gets shot. And he's never the same again. And he finally breaks into the major leagues like 15 years later at like the age of 35, 36, when back in the early 1900s, you're retiring at that age. You're not a rookie. You're not playing for the first time. And he just leads a ragtag, terrible team to the National League pennant. And it's such a great ending to the movie. He's up there with 2 men on, 2 outs, 3 balls, 2 strikes, and they're down by 2 runs. And it's just a great ending to the movie. I love The Natural. Steve, what do you think of that one?
Oh, it's great. And I don't know if you mentioned too, but Robert Duvall's in that movie, and so is Kim Basinger. I think she's in the movie too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's such a great movie, and that's one of those that I can't speak a lot on the scenes because I haven't seen it in a long time. Okay. But that is such a great movie.
I just love it. I mean, I love everything about that movie. I mean, he even says it in it. He says, "God, I love baseball." It's true. I mean, but you got to be a baseball fan. Don't get me wrong. Some of these movies are, if you're not a fan of the sport, you may not connect with it. And I say that about a lot of these. It happens from time to time. And somebody in the chat? Let's see.
One said the best, yeah. And it's a great movie. I got to agree with
that's a good movie.
Waterboy is fantastic.
That is a good movie. Absolutely it is. And Kay Atwood says Angels in the Outfield, another great movie. Absolutely. And actually, Angels in the Outfield made my honorable mention. But More Sunshine, Please says Wilford Brimley. That's right. Wilford Brimley's in the movie too. He's the manager in The Natural. So I agree. So great picks 1 through 5, 5 to 1. Steve, give me a few of your honorable mentions, and then we're going to have a little Disney chat, folks. There's a couple things for Disney I did want to kind of touch on that I want some opinions from everybody on. Steve, who's some of your honorable mentions?
So I also, like you, tried to incorporate a lot of the different sports. But Tin Cup made my honorable mentions.
Oh, yeah.
Karate Kid, I've considered a sports movie. Jerry Maguire, 8 Men Out. Cobb, which I think is a phenomenal movie. And then I added, I had one more. Where'd it go? Sandlot.
Yes, good movies. Good movies. Well, for me, my honorable mentions were Bull Durham, Breaking Away. I don't know if anybody even knows what that is. It's a cyclist movie, actually. It's about a bicyclist in a little town. The Karate Kid made my list too.
Nice.
It did. It made my list. Talladega Nights. Ricky Bobby.
Ricky Bobby.
Hey man, if you ain't first, you're last. Steve, that could be our new. That could be our tagline. Shake and bake.
You shake and bake. I like when he's rolling. I'm on fire. He's just rolling.
That's such a classic movie. Field of Dreams didn't make my top 5, but it did make my honorable mention. And A League of Their Own.
I had written A League of Their Own down too, but I didn't put it up high enough.
Yeah, I love A League of Their Own is fantastic. It just really is. Hey, Brandy and Dave's in here. Welcome in. Dean, Dreamers Empire. Welcome in, buddy. Good to see you. Breaking Away is really fantastic, Dean. I agree. I think it's us older guys that really like that one.
And Brandy and Dave love Tin Cup as well. I think isn't that based off of another true story too?
It could be.
I believe it is.
Here's my only problem with Tin Cup. The end of the movie frustrates the heck out of me.
It does me too, but I think because it makes you feel that, I think it enhances it. It doesn't always have to be a feel-good story or a sad story. But
I guess who would do that? Would anybody really do that?
Well, that's why I actually think it's based off of a true story.
Oh my gosh. I would never do that. I'd lay up and just take the title, man. That's what you play for. Yeah. That's so frustrating, the end of that movie.
It may not be real. It may not be based off a true story, but I thought it was. I could be wrong.
No, it wouldn't surprise me if it is. It certainly wouldn't. Yep. How about that? Let's see. More times I took a film class in college. Professor showed Breaking Away. Yeah, I just think Breaking Away. It's highly underrated. It's an older movie, but I think it's a fun movie. The guy that plays Rorschach in Watchmen is in that movie. He's one of the kids. Dennis Quaid's in that movie. The guy from Home Alone, not Joe Pesci, Daniel Stern. Daniel Stern's in that movie. Macaulay Culkin. He wasn't even thought of yet. But great movies, guys. So that's our list. That's our top 5. That's our favorite sports movies. I hope you guys liked it. We definitely love bringing these to you. Happy Gilmore made the list. That's a great movie too, Angela. Yes. Absolutely. Funny golf movie.
They're just tapping in.
Yeah, it's true. But I did want to talk for the last 9 to 10 minutes. I did want to talk Disney because there's a few things. I always like to end on Disney to give those that are hanging in there who maybe aren't great sports fans, but are here to support us. We appreciate it. So we always try to do the last few minutes talking Disney. And I want to talk to everybody about the changes that, first off, we'll talk about the YouTube changes in a minute, Steve, because I want your opinion on it. But did you hear that Disney is now charging handling fees for in-room deliveries? Did everybody know that?
I did not hear that, but I honestly don't have a problem with that.
Okay. Now, what they're doing is, from what I'm reading, they will charge a $6 service fee for anything that's delivered to your room that are packages or groceries. Now, if you get it delivered to the resort, not the room, it's still complimentary.
Yeah. And I don't have a problem with that because, look, Disney goes above and beyond. I know they make a lot of money. Don't get me wrong. They charge arms and legs. But, for somebody, to me, that's a tipping service. If you were going to have a package or somebody's going to actually take time out of, they're on the clock, but they're taking time to come to your room, which some of those are a long ways away. That should have been a tipping service in the previous. I don't think people get tipped in that regards. And I think that's why Disney's going to a delivery service. You can get up and walk to the front lobby and get it yourself, and it's free. I don't have a problem with that at all. Okay. So that's just my own opinion.
Okay. So why do you think, and that's fine. And everybody in the chat seems to be agreeing. Hey, Orlando Parks Rover, welcome in. Well, I have a question. Why is it, do you think Disney is doing this stuff? Do you think it's strictly because they want to, because the people that are delivering it, like you said, they're on the clock anyway. This is their job. Their job is service, customer service. So part of that customer service, if it means they need to bring the groceries to your room, they need to bring the groceries to your room. So what's the incentive for Disney other than the almighty dollar? Is that it?
I honestly, I don't know. I think, again, when the maids come and the housekeepers, I call them mousekeepers, when they come in and clean the rooms, I always have homemade envelopes with money in them for tips. I tip them for everything I can think of. A lot of people don't tip them for making a delivery to their room, somewhat because they're also not usually in the room when you deliver it.
Correct.
That it also comes down to another, that's also a way for possibly if more people come up to get them, then they don't have to worry about lost items, broken packages, things like that as well. So that people could say, hey, this got damaged when you put it in my room, or hey, this is not in my room, whatever the case may be. I don't know. I don't have a problem with them. I'm one of those guys that goes and gets my own stuff anyways. So I don't have a problem with them charging it. Now, if they charge me to do that, I would have a problem with it for me to do the work and go up and get it myself. But gotcha. I don't have a problem with them charging. Now, maybe $6 may seem a little steep, but I don't have a problem with them charging something to bring you packages to your room.
Okay. I'll play devil's advocate. And here's what I mean by that. Christy's Corner says, well, those employees could be spending time helping guests in the lobby rather than sending someone to your room. Yes, but you're still helping guests. You're doing a service for a different guest. It may not be the guest in the lobby, but it's the guest in the room. You're doing something for them. So you're still helping a guest. So that's what, to me, I think this is a cash grab. I'm going to play devil's advocate and say it's a cash grab because you didn't do it for the longest time. Why all of a sudden now are you doing it? If you want to use their services and your members for other things, then just don't allow it. Just say you got to bring your own stuff, period. We don't do it. I'm fine with that. But to say now we're charging, to me, it's just a way to get a cash grab.
And in recent years, too, is maybe even the last 2 years, the number of people are finding out tips and tricks to the trade, and they're starting to order more and starting to have more delivered, too. So it could be a volume issue as well.
Yep.
So and I've got no problem with that. But
okay. Yeah, and by all means, I totally look. Melissa's second job is based off tips. I've done tips for the longest time as well. I used to be a busboy. I used to work at a bingo hall, all that kind of stuff. So I totally understand the importance of tips. But that being said, I don't know. I wonder about this one. I mean, some of these new fees that Disney comes up with start to upset me only because it feels like it's just a cash grab for them to make more income.
And there are some that I do think, like when the resort center, you have to pay to park your car. I think I have no problem with them charging for the parking lot at the resorts because all theme parks do. We're out here anyways. But to park your car in the resort, I do have a problem with that. That is, to me, is just a cash grab. So I don't know how else you get there without flying in and Disney wasting their own gas and time to come get you from the airport on the magical transport system. So I do have a problem with that regard I consider that a cash grab for sure. Yeah.
And Christy says that. She says it's a business, man. And it's true. It is. Just like they charge 25 hours per day for you to park your own car. It is a business. But they make plenty of money. They really do. And there's certain – look, if you want people to come to your parks, give them incentives to be there, certain things here and there. Less and less incentives are there. Pretty soon, the buses to and from the parks is going to be something that's going to be an extra $5 service charge that's included in your package to pay for you to get from the parks back to your resort from the for transportation from those buses. You can see it coming. And I don't know. This to me, you're right. Now we got to pay for our cars to be there, and then we got to pay for this. Now we got to pay for that.
And I think it's really clear that the money that they charge, Disney reinvests back into the park, so we wouldn't be getting all the things that we're getting either. So the purpose, I mean, don't get me wrong, they're a giant in the world of entertainment, but I think they do a good job of investing stuff back into their product.
Yeah, no, and I get it. Look, what I think they should do, I still think it should be complimentary, but put a cap on what can be delivered back to the room. We're not delivering cases of water. We're not delivering 6 cases of soda to you. You know, if there's a limit on what we will deliver. If you go over that limit, okay, then charge them something. That's just my opinion. You know, I mean, I might have just a loaf of bread and some some other stuff delivered to me, and they're going to charge me $6 for that.
And see, I found too that in my last 2 trips I've gone, I call Lyft, which by the way, Lyft is cheaper than Uber at Disney World. Just for anybody that wants to know, it's like half cheaper. So we called Lyft, had them take me on a 7-minute ride to Walmart. I did my own shopping, called them back, and just took it to my room in bags. So I don't even have the stuff delivered to Disney World. I just go get it myself.
Right, and that's what we would do, and that's what we're gonna do when we go down in August. We'll go to the store because we're driving anyway. Mm-hmm. We're gonna run to the store and bring it back to the room ourselves. And don't get me wrong. Christy's Corner says, she doesn't think Disney will be the first to make that move, talking about charging for other things. They'll let Universal do it first. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yep, they'll make them do it first. That way they can kind of ease the burden on them. But I just saw that, and I thought that was interesting that they did that. I also heard that the Disney After Hours event that they were hosting over in Animal Kingdom on May 7th was canceled.
I didn't even know they were hosting one there.
Yeah. Well, they have several over in Animal Kingdom in the month of May and June, and for some reason they canceled the one May 7th, and I don't know if anybody in the chat knows why.
Is there maybe another event going on, or?
It doesn't say. It just says that they canceled it for some reason, but they haven't really said why. Obviously, those that booked it are going to be reimbursed, but I just thought that was interesting. Welcome in, Nacho Mojiga. Good to see you. Glad you're here. Thank you for being here. And Tippy, you do that, said that. He said last time he was there, Steve, he did the same thing. Took an Uber, went and got the stuff and brought it back. Makes sense. Absolutely.
Yeah, and not only that, but you can get everything you want to. There's a massive Walmart down there. For all those that don't know about it too, you can get a lot of similar merchandise that are Disney merchandise at Walmart prices down there too for souvenirs. If you go in there, last time we went on, the day we got there, we took a Lyft late at night. I don't remember what it was, 10, 11 o'clock at night. Went over there, did all of our shopping for the entire week. We got bagels and Pop-Tarts and waters and sodas and everything we would possibly want for to prepare for the meals. Because when we do our dining plan, we don't eat breakfast. We always just get our own. And so we got everything we wanted, and then we just drove back, and we bought all of our souvenirs at that time too, ahead of time. First day we were there, a lot of souvenirs from there. Yeah. And then that way when we get back, we don't have to worry about. We bring back for so many people that we had them covered. So, and it's all at real Walmart prices. It's not like inflated just because it's Disney World Walmart.
Right. No, it's true. It's true. Welcome in, Ray J. Welcome in, Alyssa. Oh, we got 22 people in the chat right now, Steve. Thank you all for being here. That really jumped.
Yeah, it was like 9 for a minute. I mean, we were started out good, and then it dropped down to 9, and we started talking about Disney, and back it goes.
That's okay. That's why we do it at the end. We want to obviously, it's kind of our gift back to everybody. I hate to say it like that, but because we love talking Disney too.
Absolutely.
But it's funny now that YouTube has done this whole 1,000 subscribers to mobile stream. So you can stream like you're doing now on your laptop or your computer at home, but they won't let you mobile stream. So what are your thoughts as someone who's under the 1,000 threshold? What do you think about this? I don't know if you talked about this on another stream.
I think I've talked about it twice already. So
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I want to talk about it. So I have mixed emotions about it. Okay. So it affects me directly. I'm sitting just under 500 subs. And I want to live stream Galaxy's Edge on the Thursday that it opens down in August. So it's taken me 9 months to get to 500, and I've only got, what do we got left? I got 130 something days till I leave. So what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. We got about roughly 4.5 months till Galaxy's Edge. So I've got to double my progress in the next 4.5 months to even have a shot at streaming. Now, I know people say you can live stream, Streamlabs, and all that. I almost guarantee they're going to filter. There'll be a filter on that before August by the time I get down there. So they'll cut some kind of deal with Streamlabs to where we won't be able to do that. Right. There's a purpose and the reason why they're doing it, and they're doing it for a great reason to avoid people like what happened in New Zealand with the shootings. That people that live streamed them and then they instantly got downloaded and kept getting reposted. And I get that, and it's fairly easy for somebody to create. I don't want to say 100. I think it was 100 beforehand. You can create, if you're going to plan something as sick as that, as massive as that, you could create 100 emails or something and give yourself 100 subscribers. You really could. So, and that's what they did. They did that, and I think it was done on Facebook though, and but it wound up streaming over to YouTube. And they're just trying to block that kind of stuff. So I agree, something needed to be done. I think the 1,000 mark is excessive.
Right.
You already have to get 1,000 to be monetized. I mean, I think 500 would have been a fair number, but it's really frustrating personally because I want to. I know I'm not going to do anything, but I want to stream Galaxy's Edge for all the people because we're working hard to get in there.
Right.
That's what something we wanted to do, and I wanted to be involved. Remember, I've talked to you guys. Want to live stream around Illuminations from all different. Once I want to try to get enough people from every country. You know, I can't do that, and some other people. If everybody else is under 1,000, they won't be able to either, unless Streamlabs holds up, which I don't think it will. So, I have mixed emotions. I understand why they did something, but what they did, I think, was excessive.
Right. And so far, Streamlabs is the way to go. I have Streamlabs on my mobile phone. I can't put it on my computer because I have a Mac. And for some reason, Streamlabs is not compatible to a Mac. At least I haven't found a workaround. If anybody in the chat knows how to do it, please let me know. I'd love to find out how. But I'd love to do Streamlabs. Right now, it's still available. Welcome in, by the way, to AJC Magic TV and Chills TV. Thank you, everybody. I'm glad you're here. Definitely appreciate it. But yeah, it's a frustrating thing for sure. What is your thoughts, Steve? What are you going to do moving forward?
So, I mean, we're gonna keep pushing forward, and it does immediately. I mean, I'm going to use Streamlabs. Don't get me wrong, but I just think that they're going to. I think by August, that will not be an option. That's just my own personal feeling. Hope I'm wrong. Really do hope I'm wrong. Ultimately, it'd be nice. Obviously, it'd be nice to be at 1,000. I would not have to worry about it. But it hurts so many people from growing. To be able to do that kind of stuff, because there's a lot of things around here that I wanted to live stream as well. Now that I started live streaming, it took me 8 months to start live streaming, and now that I'm doing it, I want to get out there and do that kind of stuff. And it's going to be frustrating not being able to, or being hindered, you know, to some degree, just because of where my numbers are.
Yeah, no, I agree. Alex Downs, welcome in, buddy. No, I agree. It's look, for the longest time, it took us forever to get to 1,000 subscribers. Not only do you have to get 1,000, you have to have the 4,000, watch hours as well. They made that hard to achieve. It's not easy. It's not easy, especially if you're making many videos that are only 4 to 7 minutes long. We made it over the 4,000 because we went live. We did a lot of live streaming, but that would have prohibited us if we were under 1,000 and tried to do that. So you're right. This really stunts the growth of other channels to be able to move at a quicker pace. Yeah. Because for every one that you have, for the reason why they're doing this, you have thousands that are doing it the right way.
Oh yeah.
And that's where the issue is. It's one of those, the many get hurt by the few.
Yep, absolutely.
It's unfortunate because it doesn't have to be that way. But we'll have to see what happens. And of course, I know Dan was going to talk about it. I don't know if everybody else has talked about it yet, but they also have the new, and I'll just bring this up real fast, the After Hours event, the Disney Villains. What do you think of that, Steve? Did you see that?
I did, and I'm sad because I can't go. So there was a debate the other day too as to whether or not you could dress up, and everything I've seen says you cannot dress up for the Villains event. Just to be so, unless somebody can show me something otherwise. I know we were debating about it the other night. I can't remember whose stream we were on, but as far as I'm aware, you cannot dress up for that. So,
well, but I've heard differently.
Yeah. So, and that's the thing. Nobody seems to know. But what I actually, I don't remember even what I just used, but it specifically says the reason why, or they didn't give a reason. They said it cuts off there because then right after that, the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party starts. Right. And you can dress up for that. Right. So one of those things we got to figure out is whether or not you can dress up for it. But on that note, Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party starts, which I was excited for because I get to go to one of them. It starts though right before I get there, which means it's also the end of the Villains thing. And as anybody that knows, watches me knows, I am a huge Villains fan. Yeah. And I am very upset that I'm not going to get to experience it.
Well, hey, I want to say hi real fast. It's Joey's World. Welcome in. It's Joey's World. Good to see you the other night. We saw you on the live stream for Josh and Jenna. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Everybody say hi to It's Joey's World. We're just glad you're here. And we're talking Disney. Here's what I heard about the Disney villains after hours. You can dress up kind of like your favorite villain in almost like a Disney bounding kind of way. Do you know what I mean by Disney bounding?
I don't think I do.
Disney bounding, and somebody in the chat, please kind of explain this if I say it wrong. Disney bounding is, let's say you want to dress up like Goofy. Well, you wear a Goofy shirt and maybe a pair of pants that look like what Goofy would wear, but you're not in a full Goofy costume. If you were to Google Disney bounding, you'd know what I mean. So you're not necessarily in a costume. You're in regular clothes, but they're regular clothes that look like your characters that you want to be, kind of. That's what I had read. But you're right. I also read you specifically, it's been straight denied. You cannot be in a costume.
Okay, maybe that's what I'm getting at then. They didn't say anything about Disney bounding, but it says it's been read that you cannot be in costume. You cannot dress up is what it was put to me, but you cannot be in costume to some degree for that villain's event.
Right. Now, and D. Hazel says it. Wear colors. She says it right here. Where'd it go? I'm sorry. I thought I had it. She said something in here. Oh, Zippity do that. Thank you for that. You didn't have to do that. That was very nice of you. Thank you. Everybody, please say thank you to Zippity Doodad for the $4.99 chat. He says, thanks for all you do, Steve's World and Mouse Talk. Great combo. Zippity Doodad, thank you. That's very generous.
Really appreciate that. He's actually in Disney World now.
I know. I saw him.
I think his birthday was yesterday, and he flew down.
Yeah, he was on with Josh and Jenna last night briefly on Resort TV once. I saw him. That was great. D. Hazel says what it is you can wear colors or items that represent your character, Steve.
Okay.
And that's kind of what I was talking about. That's what they're ultimately saying.
And I don't. To me, that's not. When I hear dressing up in costume, that's not dressing up in costume to me. That's just. Right. I mean, I'm wearing a shirt with Mickey Mouse on it. That's.
Right.
That's not me in a costume for Mickey Mouse.
Right. But you could wear a shirt where it's a black shirt and red pants or something like that Mickey would wear.
Not
exactly. So you're not necessarily in a costume, but you're Mickey bounding kind of. That's what they're talking about ultimately.
I got you.
And Angela says Disney bounding is where you where you wear the colors of the characters and maybe a piece of their attire. Like Peter Pan, you would wear a feather, or Tinkerbell, you would wear a pin or purse or backpack. So that's kind of what they mean. So okay. I thought that was really cool. I'm really interested in this Disney villains, but the thing I'm interested the most about it is, first off, I really love the idea that they might have overlays, or they're going to have overlays on, they said, Pirates of the Caribbean and one other one, if I'm not mistaken. Was it Big Thunder?
I didn't read that far into it.
Okay. And I know that they said the dragon from Festival of Fantasy is going to be...
I did read that.
Going around Magic Kingdom. Now, I don't know how they're going to do that. But how is that going to be? Is he just going to go around one? Is she just going to go around one time? Or is she just going to be going around the entire night and you can see her? That's what I'm interested in knowing, because that's going to be really neat.
Yeah, it just says, the website actually just says spot Maleficent the Dragon. It says with her steampunk style and signature wicked grin will be let loose for the first time at night, breathing fire as she creeps through the park on a one-of-a-kind experience for all guests.
Right, but I wish they were just a little bit more specific. Like, I don't know if that just means they're just going to go around one time with the dragon, or the dragon's going to hang around maybe up by the main hub.
The nice thing is you might be able to it might be a picture opportunity too. You may be able to get a picture taken with it, since it's not in a parade type atmosphere, because it's obviously controlled, so they can stop it and maybe there might even be a PhotoPass person there to take your pictures with it. That would be really incredible.
That would be incredible. That's one of those things. If you had a bucket list thing, one of the bucket list things for me would be getting my picture taken with that dragon. Absolutely. That would. Oh my gosh, man, that would be so cool.
I would almost bet I bet that's going to be an opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And there are discounts. If you're an annual pass holder or a DVC person, there are annual discounts. Discounts that you get for the ticket, because it's like a $30 discount, which is really nice too. So if you're an annual pass holder, anybody in the chat, or you're a DVC member, it's a good discount. It's $30 off the price, which I think is kind of nice.
And tickets go on sale April 29th. So
they go. Yeah. Okay.
Everybody still has an opportunity to go.
Gotcha. Okay. And then the other thing I want to talk about, and I appreciate everybody hanging in here. I know we're well past the hour that we're supposed to be on, but we got 22 watching, and and I definitely appreciate everybody hanging in there with us. I hope you're enjoying the talk. I know Steve and I definitely are.
Yeah.
Steven, if you got to go, buddy, you let me know.
I don't have anything to do. This is it. So.
All right, cool. I did want to talk about, for those that don't know, Bo Peep is coming to Hollywood Studios in Toy Story Land as a meet and greet. But it's the new Bo Peep, the new look Bo Peep that's going to be in Toy Story 4. Did you know that, Steve? Did you hear about that?
Not, but I mean, I love. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad they're bringing Bo Peep, but I wish it was in the old. I don't like the new style Bo Peep from the trailers. Gotcha. Don't care for it. Let's put it that way.
Gotcha. Well, I'm interested to see the movie as to why she's in the costume. So I don't know yet. I want to see the reason for it. But I am glad she's coming to the park. It's a unique character that you never get to see. You're right. I mean, the little Bo Peep that we're used to seeing in toys and things like that is the classic one.
And I got to be honest, if I'm going around and I'm in Disney World and I see Bo Peep in her big white and pink dress and holding the little hook and everything with the little bonnet, I'm going to know that's little Bo Peep.
Right.
If she's that character from the new trailer is standing in Walt Disney World, I'm not going to know who she is.
That's true. That's true. Some people may not know that. That's exactly true. Yep. I agree 100%. I still think she'll get a very good reception. I think the line will be long. I'm glad they're bringing in other character meet and greets. That's one of my favorite things about Walt Disney.
Mine too.
Our character meet and greets. I'm sorry, it just is. I don't care who it is. I'll meet the princesses by myself. I don't care. I'll go meet every single character. I love the meet and greets. My oldest son Walter is the exact same way. He'll go meet anybody. He doesn't care. He's like, let's go.
We make our own autograph books just so we can go get them. And there's days where we'll go through the list of fast passes, and if we've already got something we've already done, we'll get fast passes for some of the meet and greets, so we don't have to wait in line for them. Yeah,
it's true. Look, there used to be some other meet and greets. We had some of the best meet and greets ever. One of the best meet and greets, Steve. I didn't catch this joke, but my wife caught it. She was cracking up. When my oldest son first started driving, we were at Disney World and we were talking about it. And we went and met Jasmine and Aladdin. It was one of the prettiest Jasmines I've ever seen. But Aladdin, we were talking about our oldest son, and he asked him, "Hey, what do you drive?" Because we were telling how our son's getting his driver's license, and Aladdin goes, "What do you drive? A caravan?" It was great. It was such a great line, and he was so funny. I didn't get it at first. I'm like, nah, he's going to be driving a Honda. And my boss is like, no, Walt, you get it? A caravan. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, the way the characters stay in character, the cast members, it's incredible. I mean, they add to that whole experience.
They do. And Ray J says it. It's exactly right. Character meet and greets is what separates Disney from other theme parks. It's true. I've been to Universal. I've done character meet and greets over there. They're fine. They're fine. And I love meeting some of those characters. But the character meet and greets at Disney World, they're just top notch. They're second, third level stuff. It's just different. Yeah. You're going to drive a caravan. It was a great line. It just went right over my head.
Obviously, Gaston is got to be the best relating to the the guests. And then one that a lot of people don't ever get to see, and we actually stumbled upon him by accident, was Tarzan. And Tarzan in character was really good, knowing his, because you never know what another guest is going to say to you. And when they say something, and for the cast member to immediately stay in character and go, I don't know what that is, or make that like the caravan joke, right, it's pretty nice. It adds to the magic of Disney World.
Yep. They're just wonderful. I think the character meet and greets are unbelievable. I want to touch on something real fast that Angela was talking about, Good Neighbor Hotels. For those that don't know, Good Neighbor Hotels are hotels that are outside of Disney World that have relationships with Disney that also get some of the perks that you get at if you were staying on property at Disney. Definitely something you should look into. I think the pricing is a little bit cheaper with Good Neighbor Hotels, and they will let you know if they are a Good Neighbor Hotel, and you'll be able to see it because when you go inside the hotel, they'll have all kinds of Disney advertisement. Steve, you want to touch on that one at all?
Yeah, I mean, I've never stayed anywhere except for when I lived down there. I've never stayed anywhere except on property, but I know that there are a lot of people inform me that you can get, they use their points and they use all these things where they get to stay there, and they do provide transportation to the parks. It would be included, so it is an option. For me personally, I think it takes away from the experience and the magic not to stay on property. That's just my own opinion.
Right.
I understand financial reasons may cause people to do other things, and but for me, there's nothing like staying on property. And a lot of people don't like to do it because it's crowded. I personally, I take strolls through every hotel and resort just because it makes me feel happy, like I'm there, and it's just I just enjoy the theming the most.
Yep. Well, I'll say this about Good Neighbor Hotels. I've not stayed either. I've always stayed on property. But I definitely think if budgeting is a real issue for folks that can't get to Disney, it is a huge, I highly recommend you do it, because you can get your tickets there. You can get some of the perks there. They'll get you to the parks. Look into it, okay? Because I think everybody should, at some point, have a Disney vacation. Get to experience it. I wish that there was a way that everyone could. And this might be a way for some families who have major budget issues. They might be able to do it.
Oh yeah, it's definitely beneficial for that. If budget and financial reasons are a strain, by all means, it's better to go to a Good Neighbor hotel than not to go to Disney at all. So if you get the chance to go to one of them, it's definitely an option.
Gotcha. Joey's World says, Walt, you can get bada book, bada boom at some of those properties too, like on the commercial. Yeah, it's true. I just think they're a really good opportunity. I want to go back real fast to the talking about character meet and greets. Zippity Doodad said Ariel used her fork and combed his beard one time. And I don't know if anybody has seen it, but everybody knows who Corey Meets World is. Corey did a video of Gaston. Did you see it, Steve?
I did not see that one.
You have got to watch that video of Gaston yelling for Belle at near Beauty and the Beast. It is the funniest character interaction. Now, he wasn't actually talking to him. Corey just happened to be walking by. It is one of the best character meet and greets or character interactions I've ever seen. I don't know if anybody else saw it, but please go see that. It's so funny.
Our best character interaction was also with Gaston. We took my niece. This would have been, it was just me, my mom, and my niece that went this time. So it's been several years ago, but we did the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique. It was in October, probably 3 years ago. We went to the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party. She dressed up as Belle.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So Gaston, we went and stood in line after she was dressed up as Gaston or as Belle. Gaston he did his jokes and all that other stuff. He looked at me and said, "You want in on a picture?" And I said, "No." And he said something about my glasses, and I said, "Hey, Mike, I wore aviators." I said, "Just wear them so you can see how gorgeous you look in your reflection." He said, "That's a cool Uncle Steve. Everyone needs an Uncle Steve." And then he had to go to the restroom after we went through our line. And as she came out, he stopped his progress with where he was and just started chasing her down the road. "Belle, come back. You got to marry me." And he stopped his interaction with the other guests just to interact with her because he made her feel like she was Belle. So yeah, the Gaston meet and greet is by far the best in my opinion.
Yeah, the people they get for those meet and greets they're really in character fantastic. Yep. They really do a great job. Zippity Doodad says he's staying at the All Stars right now and they're refurbishing the rooms. Yes, they are, and those refurbishments are high time. They have needed to refurbish some of those All Stars for a while now, and I'm glad they're doing it.
Which one are you staying at, Zippity Doodad?
Yeah, which one? Where are you, Zippity Doodad? Which All Stars?
I stayed at All Stars down in August. And I'm hoping for a new room because I stayed there a long time ago with the carpet and everything, and it needed to go really bad. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
I'm hoping they do this. I'm staying at Sports, I think. So I'm hoping they do Sports.
All Star Sports is the only one I haven't stayed at. Steve, can you believe that?
Well, that's the only one I have stayed at. It's the best thing.
Movies. He's staying at movies. Movies is fantastic. I love All-Star movies. We've stayed at the Dalmatian side and we stayed at the Toy Story side. We love the Toy Story. Dalmatians was fine, but we love the Toy Story side. It was just amazing.
I do think the movies, I've been to all three resorts, but I haven't stayed there. But I do think the movies is the best themed of all three of them.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yep. Yep. All right, guys. Well, we are going to get ready and head out. I know we are about a half an hour past where we're supposed to be. First off, let us thank everybody in the chat. There's so many of you in here. I couldn't even begin to start, but we're so appreciative and grateful to all of you for being here. It's just very humbling to us, and we're very grateful that you're here, that you would take your time on a Saturday night and spend it with us. We definitely appreciate it. And we want to thank everybody for being here tonight. Steve, any last words from you? Please plug your channel, bud.
Yeah, no, again, thank you everybody for coming out. We so many great people in here, and Christy from Christy's Corner just completed an incredible giveaway where they did a 9-loop channel or 9-channel loop. She orchestrated that. It was just really great. So really want to thank Christy for taking the time to organize that and get that together. And then, yeah, we're in the middle of our Disney songs bracket. We're going to have to change a few things up. I had everything planned for the rest of the year, but we're going to change a few things up because we're not going to be able to, in case we can't live stream mobily. So, but we're going to be on the second round. We will complete the entire second round of our 128 Disney Song Bracket Challenge Monday. And then next week, we'll be able to finalize the whole thing. So, yeah, thank you, Zippity Doodad. I appreciate that. Here's one quick thing. I hate asking for things. I hate, I don't even like doing my own plugs. I just don't like it. If people want to enjoy me, they can enjoy me. But I'm thinking about starting a campaign to try to get to 1,000 just so I can share Galaxy's Edge with everybody. And that's, I don't know. I'm going back and forth on it, but I really do appreciate everybody's support. You guys are great. Thank you very much.
Yes, everybody, please, thank you in the chat. You're all wonderful. I'm just reading some of them, some of the people in the chat. Thank you all for being here. We have a good time talking sports. Stacy Rogers, what's up? Welcome to see. Good to see you. She's coming in last second. I'm glad you stopped in, even if it's for a second. Folks, before you head out, please give us that thumbs up. It's very important. It definitely helps the stream. We appreciate it. For myself, on Tuesday coming up, we're going to be doing the next bracket for we're doing Disney live action movies. And we started it last week, and we're going to be finishing that up this week. It's a lot of fun. Please come out for that. Thursday, Melissa and I do Disney Talk. Tomorrow, and I don't know if Dan brought this up on his stream, but tomorrow, Dan and I will be doing our next installment of Star Wars Week. We do our Star Wars episodes. Once a month, we break down one movie from the Star Wars canon all the way up to December when Episode 9 comes out. And this week, tomorrow on Dan's channel, we're going to be talking about Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. And it's going to be 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I don't know, Steve, did he talk about that?
He actually, I was trying to grab his attention. I try to be really polite. I didn't want to interrupt him. And he said his little tagline before he left, and I told him off stream. And he said, I forgot. I told him I'd remind you to plug it. So,
yep.
Who's your guys' guest this week?
It's going to be Dougie.
Nice.
Yes, so Dougie from Walter Grams will be our special guest, guys. So please, it's going to be a hoot. I'm sure of that. We're going to have a great time. But thank you, everybody, again. We definitely appreciate it. Steve's almost to 1,000, or even if he's not, let's get him there. Let's get him to 1,000. Melissa and I are close to 1,300. We're getting there. We're pushing. We're plugging along. We're doing our best.
You guys are within just a few, aren't you, of 13?
Yeah, we're like 29 away from 1,300, something like that. But we'll get there when we get there. I appreciate anybody that subscribes, and it means the world to us. But thank you, everybody, for joining us. It's been great. We definitely appreciate it. Thank you to my partner channel, Steve. As always, it was a lot of fun, bud.
Oh, absolutely.
And, everybody, please take care of yourselves and each other, and we'll definitely talk soon.
Bye, guys.
Everybody.